right, and so it's recording. All right, we're pouring our hearts out today. Um, this is just real, right? We had something planned, and all those plans went out the window. But guess what? That's how we've been living for the past month or so, right? Lots of us had plans. My son is graduating from college in 3 weeks. We booked our hotel. I mean, we booked out the entire floor of the hotel because family was flying in from everywhere, and we were going to celebrate this child. Um, and when first we heard about it, I wondered whether or not it would happen. And when they finally made the announcement that there'd be no graduation, I mourned it. I haven't even had time to really examine it with him because this has been 4-year dream for him. It's been a 22-year dream for me, right? Because when they handed him to me, I was like, oh, look at the college grad, So,
What's his degree going to be in?
Chemical engineering.
Very nice.
Yes, chemical engineering, and I'm surrounded by engineers. They make fun of me and they say, oh, you're the only soft science here. My husband's an engineer. My middle son is an electrical engineer major, and my youngest son is a researcher. He researches everything. The thing is, we had all these plans. I was going to go to the museum. I was going to go eat a lot because everywhere I go, I eat. But he's not even going to be with me. He's in DC. He decided to stay there. And so we're all up in the air just trying to figure out what's the next step with this COVID new world that is trying to put in place for us. And what we do is we do the best we can, like we're doing today. This is like a microcosm of us trying to do the best we can. You had your plans and something changed. Do you fall apart? Do you stop? Or do you do the best you can to pull together all the resources that you have, whether they're internal or external, so that you can come out whole, or at least close to whole on the other side of this?
Where is he at right now?
He's in DC.
Gotcha. And traveling is cut off, right? As far as traveling on a plane, stuff like that?
Yes.
No, we are. It's good to see that we're living what we're talking about. Excuse my nurse, but she has to take my temperature. She's a little concerned here.
Yes. Hello. Well, you've had an emotional hit here, Hector.
I really did, and she's giving me that look right now because I got a temperature of 99 right now. So I'm gonna get off the patio for a little bit. I'll try to come back on, but she wants me inside. So I really don't try not to fight with my medical nurses when they say it's time to go. So and then I knew it was going to be in the 90s. I just didn't know it was going to be in the 90s at 7 p.m.
Right.
So I underestimated that one. So I just want to say thank you. And Dr. Ruddock, hopefully we'll talk a little bit tomorrow in practice at 6:30 when we come back on. If you guys are all willing to be here to join us, because I think this is how we grow. I think 6 people get together and they invite 2 friends and they invite 2 friends and so on. So I really thank you for being here for this time for me as I grieve my own loss from COVID-19. So I love you guys, man. Thank you. Each one of you means so much. And Jeanne, I know we're still getting to know each other, man, but oh my God, girl, you can make me laugh, man. I swear, and bring so much joy and information. So I'm looking forward. We got 28 more days. All right. We have 28 more days. We'll be here Monday through Friday, but we have 28 more days to share the love, to share the support, to share the knowledge, and also to share the pain, because I think each one of us are hurting in our own way, and we're coping with it. So, amen.
Absolutely. Hector, take care of yourself, because that's the most important thing right now.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me, Hector.
You got it, brother.
All right, so now we are down to 4. What is that, Hector? Okay.
He's trying to turn it off.
We are down to 4. But I'm glad you guys are hanging in there. And again, I just look at this as like a micro representation of what's going on. We have all these plans, at least a lot of us had all these plans, and there's all these unexpected things that keep coming up. My other son was in Georgia at Georgia Tech, and I shut everything down, and I got on that car and I drove to go and get him. And the whole time I got him, when I got there, the school was like a ghost town. Most of the kids had already been gone. They were picked up by their parents. And so all I can think of is I have to get to my son. And so, you know, you kind of try not to let the panic set in. And this is me talking from someone who have an amazing tool set of skills that allows me to manage a lot of my emotions. But in the realness of my son is there, this is this new thing, nobody has concrete information to give us. Oh my gosh, we have to circle the wagon. I have to get my child. And literally until I got him and settled him back with me, I couldn't focus. It was just very difficult for me to focus. And so, you know, that's actually one of the things that precipitated us even wanting to do this, is to recognize the humanity inherent in this and how many people are struggling with the changes that they have to deal with. I mean, here's Hector, who's found out today that his cousin passed away, and he was very close to that cousin. You know, we're all dealing with some sort of negative consequences based on this, and it should be able to come together, to walk together, to learn together, to hold each other's hands. So that's the purpose of this. So, you know, I don't care if it's 2, I don't care if it's 3, as long as we're not alone.
Great. I kind of had this with my daughter. I'm paralyzed from the waist down. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Karen, yes.
And about a week and a half ago, I couldn't get a hold of her for like 3 days. And then I find out she's sick. And I can't get to her. I can't drive. I can't get downtown. And I'm just praying right now. She says it's her allergies, but she won't go to the doctor. You know, she's an adult. She's 30-something years old, but I'm her mom.
Yes.
I want to be there, and I can't. I can't expose myself either. That sounds selfish, but I mean, I got a lot of health issues myself, and so I couldn't even get to her. She keeps telling me, Mom, don't worry about it. It's my allergies. It's my allergies. But she won't go get checked. Go get checked. Put myself at ease. Go get checked. But she won't. I think.
Where is she, Karen? Where's your daughter?
She lives in downtown Detroit.
Okay.
And they've already found 2 bodies in her building, dead. They were body bags. They was on the news. Like, oh my God. And she still won't get checked.
Yeah. Have you, can you guys put something in place where you have like a constant communication with each other, like maybe a once a day check-in?
Yes. I told her I would rather hear her voice, because I can, you know, as you can tell by the voice of how sick they are. But I would rather but she gives me a text. It's like, I want a voice. So she calls me every other day, and a text every day.
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah. And that's the realness of it. You know, there's, you know, Jean Ann's son is in New York City. My son is in Washington, D.C. Ed, I don't know if you have family that's in any of the areas that's being significantly impacted by COVID.
Yeah, I've got, my kids are dispersed, but they're not in the hot spots.
Okay.
So I've got one north of Atlanta, and one here in the Orlando area, and then one out in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
And they're families, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to go visit my son, and he wouldn't even let me come see him at one point. This was a couple of months ago in February. I was going to spend a couple of days with him. He said, "No, I'd rather you didn't." So I just flew back home, and so, you know, when you got grandsons and they're just born, you want to hold them, and that's the kind of stuff that we can't do right now. Is be with our family. But yeah, it's scary, Karen, when you don't know if your kid is infected with this or not. And she says allergies, but that, and she may be afraid to get tested because she's afraid she's going to find out she's positive. So
I think that's it. I think that's it. I think she's scared.
yeah,
I'm scared.
right.
And then the thing is, what do you do with that? What do you do with all of us sitting here holding different fears and different concerns? Is what do we do now? For myself, I don't know about anyone else. My faith helps me a lot. My faith in, I don't know what other people call it, but I call God. That's my faith, and that helps me. I pray a lot, and I believe that He is covered in prayer. Does that mean that it's going to give me the exact outcome I want? No, that does not mean that. But it does give me hope in moments where darkness attempts to overcome you. It does allow me to turn on, even if it's a pinprick of light, to kind of hold some of the darkness that attempts to hold me back. And then I reach out to other people who are holding that pinprick of light. And if enough of us reach out to each other, that pinprick becomes like a flashlight. And if enough flashlights are held together, then it becomes like a bulb. And if enough bulbs are held together, we're lighting a room. How do we do that? By reaching out and doing things like this, by, even though we are experiencing our own fears and concern, reaching out and connecting to another human being and saying, even if you just want to talk, even if you just want to just share what you're experiencing, let's go ahead and do that together. That's the way we hold the light in this process.
All we can do. All we
It's
can
true.
do.
There's nothing you can do, right? You just have to keep your faith, like truly. And you do doubt because you wonder, like, okay, this is not funny, but funny. My last name is Moses, so you know what I've been thinking this whole time. What are you doing, God? Like, like, so I'm not convinced. He's sending another kind of stuff on us. I'm like, hello, what's this plague about, God? What's this plague?
Right.
Because this is exactly what it looks like, right? Let my people go, right? And that's it right there. I don't perceive to know God's mind because not on the best day. But, as much as we say social distancing, we're physically distant, but I think we're more connected than we've ever been.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing, that we, even families, you're forced to be together. You're forced to eat together, You can't alienate yourself. You get to talk in a way. And if you've been married for a minute, you get to discover a brave new world with that too. Because newlyweds is one thing. Being married for a minute is another thing. You know what I mean, right? He's laughing. But it's a time. It's a time. Sorry?
I'm sorry. I think for a lot of families, they haven't been this close together since they were newlyweds.
You got to pick your battles. That's when you learn. You learn.
Right.
Like Gary and I are now empty nesters for the first time. Thank God for Jesus. But anyway.
That's right.
That's when you said,
thank
thank God.
In the afternoons when you're a grandparent.
And they were living at my house. And I go to work. I'd be like, oh my God. You missing. He was just here. He came in a little crack to look through because I just came over the house. But you get to learn a new life. It's a whole new world.
It is.
That is fascinating.
I like what you said, Gina, about, right now we're more connected than ever. I just don't think that we realize it. I don't think we realize just how much connection we have. People who didn't reach out to family members for a long time are now reaching out every other day. I know, I have not been the most faithful in terms of staying connected to my parents, but I call them every day now because I just want to know. I just want to know. So there's a greater connection there. My sons may not call as much as I want, but I'll send a text and I'll take a text. Right? Because that's a connection right there. So we really are, if you were to look at it from a logistics point of view, are much more connected. We maybe want to start doing a mindset shift that will help us. you know, in not necessarily looking at it as plainly a negative situation, but that there are some positives in everything. And one of the positive things that I find is, again, like you said, we are more connected. You know, my girlfriends and I were here, we were always like, yeah, we'll meet up there. Sure. Not today. I had a meeting. No, I had a long day. And now we're faithfully on Sundays. We're all connected on Sundays faithfully, and we're chatting and interacting with each other. So there is a way that we can just kind of recognize that we are still connected, just not in the traditional way.
That's right.
I was telling him yesterday, my mom has dementia, and they live in New York, my dad and stuff. And this Thanksgiving, this Easter, we were all, like, 2 nephews, one's in Brooklyn where they live, you know, different area, one in Philly, us down here, my son in New York, you know, everybody was together on Zoom. And it was so nice, and she got to see everybody. But you know what's really good? She wasn't bombarded with the energy of you being there. So she was able to be more present until she was ready to go, you know? And it made her happy to see her children and stuff, you know? And my sister lives with them up there, so that was really nice. It was a nice connectedness. So, you know, people you haven't been talking to, don't you notice all of a sudden you're talking to them? My sister and I weren't talking, real truth. And because of this, and because my mother's there, you know, I reached out to her, and like it was nothing. And because she's there living that, because they're in the epicenter of it, she was more receptive and shifting the behaviors. Because at the end of the day, all the stuff we were mad about or worried about, does it really matter now? No.
Nope.
Yeah. So we actually, there are some pieces of light in this process, right? I know my dad appreciates it a lot because I'm always calling, he's loving the attention. Are you okay? Are you good? I can see him just eating it up. When I call my mom, she's just lapping it up. Before I was like, not now, I can't talk to you now. I got all this work, I got this to do. Now I've kind of slowed it down, and I have prioritized checking on them. I prioritized connecting to my son. To just say, how was your day? And in a way that honors him, because, you know, he is, you know, just like you say, Karen, it's like they'll do a text, but to sit and talk on that phone, it's like pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth. Come on.
I get the text more regularly. I do the quick check-in, and we've actually, my son and I, and my other 2 sons and my husband, we sit at the dinner table. That's always been very important in a house that kind of fell apart when the other 2 boys went away to college. We've been more mindful of it. My son even challenged me to a game of cards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, if my son challenged me to a game of chess, I wouldn't play him. No, it's no fun. I'm too competitive, and if I can't win at all, I don't want to play.
well, can he catch you when you're cheating?
It's hard to cheat at chess.
I'll find a way. Here's a new challenge. Now you'll find a way.
That's right. No, he's sharp. He would.
Yeah, I don't play chess with my boys anymore. No, because they walk around pointing the finger at me for days after. Yeah, this is what they would do.
Yep.
So no, I don't do that. But you know, again, like I say, that mindfulness, that mindset does make a difference. You know, you look for the opening and look for the light and look for it diligently. It's there. And if you're in a space where you cannot find it, then look for someone who can shine that for you, who you can talk to, who you can reach out to. Karen, you know, you just met us, but we're here. I know Norman is there. So if you just want to reach out, sometimes it just feels good to just, instead of having all those anxious thoughts running through your head, just to talk to someone. And then sometimes when it comes out, the pressure is not there. It's almost like that balloon where you let some of that air out, and then that big pressure is not there anymore just because you talk to someone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Do you live here in Orlando too, Karen?
No, I'm from Michigan.
Oh, you live in Michigan. Oh, how neat.
about half hour from Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been to the Warren area, up there a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm close to that. You know, I have to go through Warren to get to Detroit. About a
Yeah.
half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still too long. I want to be closer to her. She needs to be here.
That's
She
what I
lives
told
by
my son, but he was like, I'm 22. Yeah.
She lives
That's
by
my
herself.
daughter. Mom, I'm 30. What is she? 37. It's like, you know, I know that, but you're still my baby. You don't understand. She's never had children, so she doesn't know. But you're still my baby. I don't care how
Mhm.
old.
I'm with
Isn't
that. But
that,
daughter,
isn't that funny though? Because my parents feel that way about me.
Well,
Yeah, I'm like worried and trying to protect them. And my dad is like, I need to make sure you're okay. You're not going out there, are you? You're not doing this. And I'm like, Dad, I'm fine. And then I'm calling my son, you're not going out there, are you? You're not doing those things.
That's right.
that's exactly it.
the domino effect.
Yeah. But it's actually given me a lot more empathy for my parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
No,
I think
it's-
that trip to pick up your son gives you more empathy for your patients as well.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
that had-
Absolutely. Because you kind of recognize what that anxiety is like and that sense of being so amazingly overwhelmed. And then of course when I got to him, he wasn't feeling well.
Mm.
Yeah. So then I kind of quietly in my heart just kind of monitored him. It wasn't anything, but for that minute, I just thought, geez.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. And
That thing about being a parent is something, isn't it? Though
Yeah.
that's something. You don't get it till you get it. But the
right.
hardest when they're older and you have no control, you can't protect them. That is the scariest thing. Scariest thing.
And my daughter lives by herself, so nobody to check on her. I was scared.
Yeah, I understand that.
Is she connected to a church, Karen?
No, not anymore, unfortunately. She kind of, I tried keeping them connected to a church, but after, you know, they get older and my one daughter does. I live with my one, I have 4 children, and I live with my one daughter. She's she helps me. She talks to me a lot about, you know, our faith, and so that helps. I'm thankful for that. Daughter, you know, she's out there. She's can take care of herself. She's a big girl. Like, yeah, I know. Nothing I can do, but it's still hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think not being able to do something is many times more difficult than most anything, really. When you realize that you don't have the ability to do what you'd like to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to, yes. I mean, I want to hop in a car and drive, and I
Right.
can't.
Yep.
Oh, like
Yep.
I told her. Yes, I cried to her. I did. I tried the tears. Please call me. Just call me. Trying, hope, you know, Mom, don't
Yep.
cry. But,
But you know, my kids, they much prefer to text over talking on the phone. But
yeah,
we have
but
gotten a few calls and Skypes and Zooms and different things. So that's been really neat. That's kind of how we connect with our grands right now is via the video chats.
see, that's got to be hard on you. You want to hold that grandbaby.
Yep. They need us.
Yeah. But you know, the good thing is staying safe right now
Yes.
and making use of technology and what we have right now gives us a better chance of being able to do like what you want to do, Ed, is to hold that baby eventually.
Oh yeah. But you know, what's most important is the safety of not only, you know, the child, but of us as well at this point.
Absolutely.
We're going to be much better for them alive in 2 years than pushing daisies, right? So that's important.
Absolutely. And I think, again, like I said, once we can adopt that mindset, because that's going to make the biggest difference in terms of how we come up on the other side of this, that mindset.
Right.
I think as parents, sometimes you feel that cat's in the cradle kind of thing when they tell you, go ahead, or I don't want to. You know, like say, go home, Dad, or whatever. You feel like the cat's in the cradle, like it's a weird kind of rejection to feel, because you know, especially when you feel sacrificed everything, you understand because you did it too. You know, we did it, but it's just something about it. Your heart just like, your heart weeps. Like you don't forget that. Like that's like you never forget. And don't even know how to process it. But you know, like my son always calls me. Our son always calls me. And so Gary said, oh, you know, your son, blah, blah, blah. And since this has happened, and I think my husband sensed some angst in him at first, and he's been calling him all the time now, which he never did. I was like, wow. Gary's been calling him like every couple of days to check on him, which is really amazing because he never in all these years done that. But now I'm like, wow. And I think my son likes that, you know, like stuff like that. It's, you know, because boys pretend. If you remember you're a boy, your parent calling you does something for you. Even if they want you to text. My kids now don't text me. I'm not with that. I need to hear your voice. No, they know, like, I am paranoid. Like, I need to hear your voice. I'm not, text me. I don't care. I have to hear your voice. I will hound you. I'll hound you. Dr. Roddick knows I'm that person. I'm like, oh, my God, Mom. I'm like, yeah, just pick up the phone. No. And I just have to hear them, and then I'm like, I can let it go. You know, you get that thing in your tummy.
Exactly. That's what I tell my daughter. I need to hear your voice. I text every other day, but I need to hear your voice. I need to know. You can tell by their voice. Like, oh mom, don't mom me. I need to hear your voice. Just 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I'm not an hour.
Yep.
It's funny, we all are the same, aren't we? Oh, it's so funny as this group here, we're parents of a certain age or children of a certain age. It's like so funny how it's the same story. So I like stuff like this. It's so warm. It is.
It's interesting. We're talking about voices, and I lost my dad about a year ago. He was in a car accident, and I did keep a couple of the voice messages that he left on my phone. Like, he called to wish me happy birthday, and he and his wife sang happy birthday. They've both been gone now. She's been gone 3 years. He's been gone a year, but I still have that old recording of them singing happy birthday to me. So,
Warms the heart. Warms the heart.
So if you don't get a hold of your daughter with a text, or I know that's impersonal. If you can't get a hold of her by calling her, leave her a voice message, and she, she'll be able to listen to that.
And voicemail box is full. Voicemail box is full. And then I'll text her, Michelle, get rid of your voice messages. I can't even leave a voicemail.
Yep.
Oh,
you know, you
like, Mom, I did, and then you left more messages on it, because
you know, you could text and by voice and leave a voice message on your text now.
That's
I record the voice. I love that.
See, they don't know we have weapons, we have tools. We'll get to you that way. We'll get to you one way or the other, right?
That's so funny. Yeah. I used to, when we had house phone, I'd call from the house phone from the cell phone. You catch it at all corners, because when they don't do it, you're like, what? I'm like, oh my God, Mom. I'm like, it's all good. You might as well just call, because you know what I'm gonna do.
Right.
When my son was in college, I would call him in the middle of the night. It's something like that. Spirit will just wake you up, and something just gets you to get up and call your child. And I would get up and call him, like, don't. He goes, okay, Mom. And he always answered me right away, even in college when he was out hanging out. Like, you get that thing, And my kids know that, so they know. That's
Give up the
fun.
fight. Just
Yep,
pick up
yep,
the
yep.
phone. Pick up the phone.
But at least you have us to talk to now, Karen, from Monday to Friday.
Thank you.
Right? See what
Thank
this
you.
has done? It has brought you some new connections. And that's what we're trying to do, is to just remind people to reach out. Be surprised how many people will reach right back out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's hard. For me, it's hard. I don't know why.
Because I think for everybody, it's the lack of control, because we want to control, and it's just the little things that we don't want to admit it, but that's the truth.
Well, I know that, let's say, Karen, you were on the line with us for 2 days, and today you didn't really want to talk because you didn't really know us. And then as you sat with us for a little bit, you got to know us, and now we're talking. So even if it is hard, even if you kind of go in and hang for a minute until you get comfortable, but just make the effort to reach out.
And Fridays, Saturdays, I'm doing some little half-hour psychoeducation sessions. Because since we're not on Saturday, you can book one with me. We can talk for half an hour.
What
Not
time?
anything. You pick the time. How many
Oh.
hours ahead of
Maybe
you?
you should get the flyer to her. This is something
I
we're
will.
doing through Comprehensive Psych and Assessment Services. We're actually trying to give back again. Like, our job is to continue to hold the light. And so one of the things that we're doing is in recognizing that a lot of people have had a significant impact on their finances. And so we are offering like half an hour sessions where you can sit and chat with Jean Ann, or chat with Maria, or chat with myself.
Oh, wow. Well, thank
You
you.
can share with your friends. And we just, you pick the topic, and it's psychoeducation. If it's stress, we have to break down things about stress, have little flyers, little things for you to do. It's not, you're not a client, but at least you'll have a tool to help you in the process.
Yeah,
You know,
and even if
have
you
them-
don't have like a structured topic, and it's just that I'm lonely, this isolation has me lonely, one of us will be there for half an hour to chat with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
That's nice.
You're welcome to do it too, Ed. You can tell all your friends at church too. I'll email
There you
it.
go.
No, seriously. We're doing
Yeah.
it, we have it in Spanish and English. So Maria speaks Spanish.
Okay.
I don't think that it's not helpful for us too, because remember, we're just as human as anyone else. So we get overwhelmed, we get anxious, we get sad. And so it's also a way for us to stay connected too. I'm looking for the common humanity in humanity. And that's what we're sharing.
Like, listen, the four of us know nothing about each other, and our story is all the same. Isn't that something, though? Isn't that something?
So we should
None of us
call
know
the kids and say, I apologize. I thought I was only.
You know what? None of us know each other, but look at how, and that's why I say to people, Shakespeare was so right? We're all the same. We're fighting all the same battle. It's the same thing. So when we think we're different, and then you feel isolated and you're angry at someone, when you really get to talk, it doesn't matter what color, creed, faith you are, at the center of it all, right? We all
Right.
face the same trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes down to love, because all we're talking about right here is love. Love. It's all it comes down to. And that's what God sent us here to learn, is to love each other, right?
On that
I mean,
amazingly positive note, I'm looking at the clock. I'm a clock watcher. Not for myself, apparently, because I'm overworking.
It's 11.
That's right. That's right.
It's 8:11. That's hilarious.
I thank you guys for hanging in there, fellowshipping with us, because this is what it was, that communication, that connection, that basic humanity that came on the line today allowed us to kind of speak our hearts in a loving, compassionate environment. And that's really the true beginning of healing. So for myself, thank you guys for allowing me to tell you what it was like when I was racing down that highway to get my son,
Mm-hmm.
and what that felt like until I got him. And even when I got him and he wasn't feeling well, the anxiety I had to hold on to, or even now the anxiety that attempts to try to overwhelm me at times when I think about my son who's in DC on his own. You know, I want to thank you guys for giving that to me. And that's why I said, for me, the more you give, the more you get, because we came on to give and you guys gave back to us.
Nice, huh? That's
It's
nice.
been great to get to know you all.
It's nice. We'll see you tomorrow night too, because then we get to hear from Norm.
All right.
You'll-
All right, everyone,
Yeah.
have an amazing day. Gina, and please don't forget to get that information to them.
Oh yeah, are your emails on here?
Should be, mine
I
should
don't
be.
know.
Are you guys able to open up your chat window and just type your emails, and that way Gina can get that information to you guys?
Oh yeah, let's put it on the chat.
Yeah, if they just type it into the chat, then you can just respond to it that way.
Is it?
It's enabled to do the message. Let me see.
No, I was asking if it was easier for me to write it for Karen.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I did that there.
I don't know where I can type.
Oh, could you possibly
What?
send us the link to the map that the guest speaker was going to bring us?
He emailed it to us. I'll email it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
and he's
that.
actually gonna come on. Norman's
Tomorrow.
gonna come back on, so we're gonna have him because it's really good information.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might communicate to him to get that app loaded first and then try to link in. He may have been trying to link in without the app.
Yeah.
No, the app is what went down.
Oh,
The app did it as well because I was on the app.
Yeah, but if he
Okay.
didn't already have the
Yeah.
app loaded, it may have been trying to do that. Plus the internet connection was probably
Yeah,
bad.
it took me both places. I went from the app, then the app sent me to the browser, and then it went down again because it kept spinning on both of them, and then it just crashed itself.
Right.
I don't have anywhere I can type.